What happened for the Freedom Rides? They left on May 4th. That was the kickoff, and they were supposed to go 2 weeks and end up in New Orleans. I signed on for the Afro-American. And what they were doing, they would come to these terminals, and white people, black people who were freedom riders would get off and see whether they could actually use the black side and the white side. And some places they could, some places they couldn't. The problem was that things started getting a little stickier as we went further south. It was May 14th, it was Mother's Day. When we left Atlanta, Martin Luther King had talked to Simeon Booker. One of the things he told Simeon was that the information that they were getting is that the Freedom Riders were not going to get out of Alabama in one piece. Out on the highway, as we were headed to Anniston, Alabama, we met a bus that flagged our bus down. And he told us that there was a pretty nasty mob up there at the terminal. You guys should be careful. He was right. When we got to the terminal, there was this mob of people, and a few policemen mingled with them out there. You know, they were just as if they were part of the mob. I didn't see them breaking out any windows, but they didn't do anything to stop anybody else. It was name calling, communists, N-word lovers, and all that kind of stuff, and daring people to get off the bus. And this is Alabama, and we're gonna keep it white. They had all kind of sticks and bats and iron metal and that kind of stuff, and they were banging on the bus, and they were trying to break the windows and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, sometimes little things are things that you wouldn't normally think would be big in a situation like that. I guess it's because it was Mother's Day. There was this black woman who was headed home from a funeral. She had no idea what kind of bus this was, you know, that the Freedom Rider was on it. It was just a regular scheduled bus. And she was down on her knees and she was praying, you know, I don't want to die like this, and why are they doing this to us, and that kind of stuff. And I got down and tried to console her, you know, telling her what was going on. And I'm trying to talk to her, and I'm watching these windows too to see if these guys were going to break into the windows, get through somewhere. We managed to pull out there. What we didn't know is that among the things they had been doing was punching the tires. We started out, man, you give this little sigh, whoo, out of that place. And you look back, and as far as you could see, these cars were coming. And there's a little car in front of the bus, and anyway the bus turned, he just stayed in front of him so he couldn't get by, couldn't pick up any speed. And by the time we got to the outside of the city, the tires went down, and the bus had to stop. And it started all over again. I was along about the middle of the bus, I guess, and they eventually broke out a window just behind me, and that's where they threw this firebomb in this seat just behind me. And suddenly, before you knew anything, smoke was all over the place, the darkest smoke you ever saw. You couldn't see very much, and so I just put a handkerchief over my mouth and nose, and I stayed on as long as possible. It started getting pretty hot, and I got off. Flames started popping up, you know. And I tell you, people were crawling around, bent over, coughing, trying to get the smoke out of their chest. They were still whacking people with chains and whatnot if they could get to them. It was one of the more horrible scenes you would see. You know, just to think that fella Americans were doing that to other Americans. Eventually, everybody had to get away from that bus. And that was, I guess, as far as violence is concerned, that was probably the worst one I was on. It was a pretty tough situation, you know. You start thinking these things about, do I have enough insurance for the family and all that kind of stuff. But a little too late to think about it then.
At that moment,
Yeah, yeah.